In this video, we're going to look at how my house performed in May 2026. So we're going to look at solar performance, how the heat pump performed, how many miles we put into the EV, and look at the overall electricity bill for the month. Before we get buried into all the tables, I'll give you a quick summary. So the solar panels generated 610 kilowatt hours in May, so around 20 kilowatt hours per day. The heat pump used 149 kilowatt hours in total across the whole month, so it was easily outstripped by the solar generation. Reminder that the heat pump is for both heating and hot water. EV wise, we put around 250 kilowatt hours of electricity into the EV at home this month, so that was good for around 1,000 miles. And the final electricity bill came to around £24. We bought a lot of energy, we sold a lot of energy back to the grid, but the standing charge made a hell of a lot of that, so we'll get into that. But before we dive into the tables and the website, if you are enjoying this sort of video and you like it, give the channel a subscribe. You get notifications when the next one's up. Give the video a like or a comment. Let me know how your system's getting on. It all really helps. Thanks very much. Right, let me share my screen. Right, here we go. So, quick reminder for those that are new here. My solar array has been in since September 2018. It's 5.1 kilowatts of panels on a 3.68 inverter, so 17 times 300 watt panels. There's a bit of an installation timeline here of all my kit, but right now we're at 16 kilowatt hours of battery storage. I've got a 5 kilowatt aerotherm heat pump. The heat loss of the house is about 4 kilowatts, and I've got a 250 litre Mixergy water cylinder. Property information: 1930s, 3-bedroom semi-detached in Sheffield, with 2 adults and 2 kids, teenagers, 14 and 16. We use around 300 litres of water, hot water a day, so we're not shy. 98 square metres floor space over 3 floors. Summary of the insulation, there, double glazing and stuff. There's also 2 really useful articles around the insulation in the house and deep dives into that, so they're worth a look. Solar generation. So there's a dedicated page on my website with solar generation figures on a monthly basis back to 2019. I'll put a link in the show notes to that. But as you can see here, May 2026, 610 kilowatt hours. And as you can see, when we look across May in general, pretty much as you'd expect in Sheffield with my array for May. There's one little blip here. We had a panel out in 2024, so that's why generation is a little bit lower there. If we scroll down to 2026, we can see 610. So we generated 610, nearly 20 kilowatt hours per day. We consumed over 1,000 kilowatt hours. We imported nearly 1,000 kilowatt hours, and we exported 555 kilowatt hours. If we scroll down to May, we can see that comparison from earlier in a little bit more detail. Every May has been around the 600 kilowatt hour mark, 20 kilowatt hours a day, and then the historical consumption, import and export for each month. Let's jump over to appliance usage. So I've got this page on the website where I break down every major appliance in the house. So how much electricity does the washing machine use? I've been tracking that for a number of years. Curious, I noticed today that 2026 numbers are higher than 2025 numbers. I wonder. I just think the kids are going through more clothes every time they come home from school or whatever, or football or dancing. They just get lobbed in the washing basket. So we've ended up doing way more washing this year. I don't really know what's going on, but I'm putting it down to that. Tumble dryer, as you can see, that drops off in May, in April and May, when we can get the washing out on the line, so that's really good. Fridge freezer doesn't seem to change very much, but I've only got about a year's data, so it's hard to tell what's going on there just yet. The cooker, pretty solid, around 1 kilowatt hour a day from the induction cooker. If you've not got induction, it's just amazing compared to gas. It really is. Dishwasher, once a day, very consistent numbers. No problem there. EV charger. So as you can see, 243 kilowatt hours this month we've put into the EV at home. So that equates to nearly 1,000 miles. The heat pump, which we'll get onto in a bit, 149 kilowatt hours, and this is a table again of going back every month to show you the monthly usage. And then again the solar chart there, and the heat pump versus solar charts. So let's touch on the electricity bill, and for that we're going to look at Octopus Watch report. So the energy we imported cost £79.79. The amount of energy we sent back to the grid gained us £75.88, so almost cost neutral, except for standing charge, which was £20. This graph here, the blue is the average import for each 30-minute slot, and the orange are the average exports for each 30-minute slot. So because I'm on Octopus Intelligent Go for imports, I fill my batteries, we charge the car in this off-peak period. And because I'm on Octopus Agile Outgoing, where it tracks wholesale pricing, you'll see that I export more in the morning and more in the evening than I do in the day. And that's because the wholesale price is usually elevated in the periods when there's more demand, which makes sense. I personally prefer Agile Outgoing. I think it's the future. I did a podcast episode with Alex Schock from Octopus Energy where we talked about the future of exports. I'll link that into the show notes. That's well worth a watch. And then here, the average import unit rate across the whole month was 8.23 pence, primarily because I was importing overnight on Intelligent Octopus Go. We were using solar in the day, so that's why we barely had any higher priced imports. And my average export unit rate is 13.67p. So that beats the 12p fixed of outgoing single rate Agile, just by using PredBat, which is an automation tool to import at the cheaper times, export at the more expensive times to get you the best value out of your investment and your kit. One frustrating thing is that my battery is old and I can't take part in sort of grid events. Axel Energy being the most prominent one at the moment, where they will guarantee an income every month from your battery by sending energy back to the grid at the right time, by paying £1 per kilowatt hour. There's more information on this page here if you want to have a look, and there's a referral link here. You can join for free and you'll get a £25 bonus once you join, and I will get the same, so thank you very much if you decide to use that. One last thing on the report is our peak versus off peak. So here, of all the energy I imported, 94% was off peak and just 6% was peak. So yeah, the Octopus Watch report is a really good summary of what goes off each month. On to the heat pump again, dedicated page on the website, all the details going back many years. The heat pump was installed in October 2022 and I have full stats going back to then. So just like the solar, we have this monthly summary. We have monthly breaks down for every year. So let's look at 2026. So May 2026, the electrical input for the heat pump was 149 kilowatt hours. The heat that was generated was 551 kilowatt hours. So that gave us a COP for the whole month of 3.7. When we break that down into heat COP and hot water COP, you can see the heat COP was 5 and the hot water COP was 3.2, which always happens. Space heating COP is always usually higher, especially in my installation, because the temperatures in the water when I'm doing heating are lower than what I heat my hot water to, if that makes sense. We've got some temperatures here. So there was an outside low of 2.5 early in May, with an overall monthly outside average of 13.5, and then the outside high was 31. So May started off cold, finished very hot. And then the breakdown of heating and hot water for May 2026 was 43% of the heat generated by the heat pump was for space heating and 57% was for hot water. If we come down to May, we've now got 4 monthly lines for May going back to May 2023. And you can see it's all pretty much in line. Although we did use more this May, but again, it's all down. I think it's all down to the weather. So it's good to go back and have a look at all these numbers. Another element that I like to track is how my Open Energy Monitor billing grade monitoring fares against the Vaillant app and tracking. So if we come down to May, this is the Open Energy Monitor column, which had a copper 5, and the Vaillant numbers came out at 4.5 on heating, and then on hot water, Open Energy Monitor came out at 3.2, Vaillant came out around 3.3, 3.4. So pretty good ballpark figures. I'm always quite happy with how they compare. Just jumping back to solar, I forgot to show you this. So this is the monthly chart from Open Energy Monitor. This is their solar app. So as you can see, these are each of the days. This is the amount of energy I imported. So the biggest generation day here was May 27th, where we generated close to 30 kilowatt hours, which is very good for my system. If we click on that single day and we zoom into the solar, we can see this rise and peak. The blue is me using it and filling the batteries up. So yeah, a really good day. It's great having all the stats to be able to delve into all this. So jumping back to the heat pump, here's the Open Energy Monitor for the whole of May. As you can see, copper 5 for heating, 3.2 for hot water. We can see how this purple line is the outside temperature. So early in the month, as we said, it was quite chilly, down to 3s and 2s, and here, so the heat pump was was working hard. If we pick one of these days, you can see the heat pump was putting energy into the house here on these colder mornings, up to 2 degrees, 3 degrees. And then, it went a bit, it got a bit crazy, didn't it, with the heat? So the outside 31 degrees. Let's go and have a look at that. So we've got a hot water run here, a short hot water run. When the outside temperature was nearly 30 degrees, and the hot water run cop there was 4.2. So generated close to 4 kilowatt hours for less than a kilowatt hour. So heat pump working its magic as usual. If you are thinking of having a heat pump installed, I'm building out this trusted heat pump installers directory, which you can find if you just search trusted heat pump installers. Only installers that I've spoken to or interviewed or sort of recommend are going to be on that list. The final thing to mention is the ongoing Energy Unwrapped podcast. I never even said the name of my own podcast, where we're up to lots of episodes now. I've even lost count, 12, 13, 14. Lots of great episodes around renewables and home energy and heat pumps and solar and all sorts of stuff. So well worth a look at all that. So let me stop sharing my screen. So just hopefully a little short one there. Usual walk through all the stats and stuff from the house. Hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, like and subscribe. Feedback's really welcome. Put them in the comments, and thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.